This presentation focuses on communicating with equations and formulas. In particular, how to work with symbolic representations in the online environment. Teaching and comprehending natural and physical sciences relies on accurately presenting equations and formulas. In the online course, transmission of symbolic representations will require instructors and students to use special techniques. The equations and formulas presented by instructors and students must be accurate when portrayed in quizzes, exams, assignment, posts, and in other areas of the learning management system. Let's talk about ways of generating equations and formulas in the online environment. You can use conventional word processor to write straightforward equations and formulas. You can use the native text editor in the learning management system. You can also invoke HTML, hypertext markup language, in the learning management system to deal with special characters. You can use a freestanding, integrated, or add-on equation editor to generate equations and formulas. In the case where sophisticated or complex mathematics equations need to be displayed, LaTeX can be used. LaTeX is a typesetting language. It's a plain text markup descriptive code. There's no one approach to use. Flexibility and creativity is needed. HTML entities can be used to represent special characters. Oftentimes, special characters are not transmitted successfully over different platforms. Sometimes these special characters are misinterpreted or missing. In certain browsers or systems, they can be rendered incorrectly or absent. So to avoid this, you can use HTML code. Here are some examples of HTML entities and how they can be used. Greek symbols and mathematical symbols can be represented with acronyms or special codes. Here are some simple examples of HTML codes. These HTML codes have been used to generate formulas. Notice that the cube root of 27 equals 9 is not correct. That formula should have read the cube root of 27 is not equal to 9. So it is easy to miscode and therefore misrepresent formulas. When using the HTML function in a learning management system, you need to turn off the spell checker, which would pick up errors in the code as it thinks it's misspelling. MathType is a freestanding or integrated mathematics equation editor that can be used to generate equations. It's a graphical editor. It's a WYSIWYG. It's what you see is what you get type editor. Keystrokes and mouse can be used to help generate equations in a graphical user interface. Document markup languages would need to be compiled, so to speak, like LaTeX. MathType supports the MathML markup language. LaTeX, which we'll talk about later, can be input directly into a MathType. MathType can allow you to export into Word, PDF, or other applications the graphical representations of the mathematics equations or formulas. Here's a picture of the graphical user interface. This complex equation was generated with some effort using this interface. In general, when you want to input sophisticated and complex mathematical equations, the typesetting language LaTeX can be used. Expressions are typed using the code into, for example, a text editor and subsequently compiled. LaTeX, when typed into MathType, can be automatically converted to the equations you need and thus exported conveniently. Here's some LaTeX code for some simple math expressions. And I've cut and pasted the graphical representations that were generated into this slide. Here's a simple example of how you can use the HTML code and LaTeX code to generate web-based information. This image is generated and then can be embedded into a web page, for example. And you can see what this code generates in the browser. Let's talk about choosing a sensible route. Certainly, the complexity can create cause for a lot of effort. If you can represent your equation in Word, then that's the best route to take. So the Henderson-Hasselbalch equation is shown here. It's the equation used in chemistry, represented both in the word processor and using LaTeX to get the more sophisticated look. If you need to make a discussion board post, LaTeX can be used. You simply input the code into the text box in the editor, as you see here in Blackboard discussion board. And when the post is made, a graphical representation of the equation is given. In this case, we're looking at an equation showing the enthalpy of reaction. You can see how the quadratic formula can be coded in LaTeX. Let's talk a little bit about accessibility. It's possible to embed accessible equations into documents by using LaTeX and MathType. You can input the graphics into the Microsoft Office suite of products, Google Docs, and Mac applications as well. So using MathType puts them into the accessible MathML format that can be rendered in other settings. When equations are rendered in MathML, they can be read by screen access software. The equations can then be further processed, output, cut and pasted, or produced in Braille.